Hi, Fola.
Hi, Crystal. We both paused to see who's going to say it. And hi, everyone. Welcome to the Connecting to Spirit podcast. And today we're talking a bit about meditation
and mantras and the benefits of meditation and mantras. And we're going to touch base a little bit on the science of meditation and mantras.
I'm not that well versed in the science of it, but I mean, there's definitely science to it. So, we thought it would be good to come on here and have a discussion for those people who have meditated and maybe have a regular meditation practice, and to those who think it's the devil's work and should never go anywhere near it.
Or I come across a lot of people lately that think too much about meditation. They think, oh, I'm not doing it right. I can't shut my brain off. And I still hear that self-talk or that chitter chatter.
Monkey brain.
And yeah, the monkey brain. Yeah, and it's about showing up as the witness, the observer. So you're never really truly ever going to shut off the monkey talk. It is what it is, because we self-talk to ourselves anywhere from 300 to 1,000 words a minute. And I believe some scientists and some psychologists will say it's anywhere from 70 to 80% of it's negative. And
I believe it.
It typically is in the illusion of what was. You're not good enough, and it's linked to some sort of potentially like trauma, or even like maybe you're picked on or bullied in the school park, or maybe somebody said something that was mean to you.
Yeah, like criticism from parents, even, right? Anything.
From parents or friends or whatever the case is, right? So, what meditation, you allow that emotion to flow through you. You observe the actual emotion. So it's literally, you're stepping out of your body, you're observing the emotion, and you're allowing it to flow through you. Now, if you want to come to a state of shutting off the monkey talk, on every inhalation you can say in, and on every exhalation you say out. And you do this with baby steps, maybe 2 minutes. And so by implementing, and we were just discussing in our other podcast, 21 to 28 days it takes to change and create healthy new patterns, neural pathways in your nervous system. So start with 2 minutes of meditation. On every inhalation you say in, on every exhalation you say out. So you don't hear that chitter chatter. You don't hear that mean talk or whatever the case is. And then maybe the next day or a week later you go to 4 minutes, and then the week after you go to 8 minutes, and eventually you're at 10 minutes. And after meditating for 4 or 5 or 10 years, you'll have more moments of silence, no chitter chatter. I call it brilliance. Meditation, like silence, is absolute brilliance. It's great. And just observing your surroundings and everything like that, and listening to the birds chirp. Is it a sunny day? Can you feel the sun kiss your cheek? That kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, I think it's so true. It's like we aren't being expected to have these sort of like monk-like experiences, And I wonder too, like if you look at, say, the rates of within like monks at like a temple, how many of them have these really profound sort of experiences? Like that's not the goal necessarily in meditation, though I think we feel like it should be. You talk about like nirvana and all these sorts of like blissed out states. That's not necessarily what it's about, because then we're always like trying to achieve something more, right? That would just be like maybe a bonus. Like really what it is becoming more aware. Through meditation, you become more aware of like your day-to-day feelings, emotions, and your thoughts and where you are. Because I was watching wasn't that video you sent me about that lady in the Mind Valley, and the one meditation they were talking about like becoming more, or what is it, the higher states of awareness leads to like more subtlety awareness. So you're just able to pick up on things, use your intuition more.
Come into your sixth sense is really what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and then just being more of that observer in the day to day. Because that's something I found with as I've meditated more over the last few years. It's like I can be more aware of when things are happening. It's almost like that observer of me, if I can call it me, when I'm having a conversation with someone, I can see, oh, you're thinking about this certain thing, or you're feeling this certain way, or you're starting to take a conversation in a certain way. It's like,
Or you feel that emotion go into your body, the
yeah,
heaviness or whatever the case is.
yeah, and you know it's like, okay, that will pass, right? And you don't have to be attached to it. It's not like, but again, it's not like I'm perfect at all because I have David constantly reminding me, you're trying to take this into a very dramatic way, Fola. It's like, oh.
It's
But
a
yeah.
journey. It's
Yeah.
being patient with yourself and kind with yourself. One week, my meditation might be on, and then the week after I might be completely off, and it is what it is,
Mhm.
right? We're not monks. We're not sitting in a temple. Life is fast and furious, right?
But if you
And
ever want to do a silent meditation retreat, to do that and become a monk,
yeah,
But yeah, I think for sure it's dependent on each person. But I think the main thing you were trying to get at with this is that everyone should be implementing it in some way. And silent meditation or just sitting
or
with your eyes
mantras.
closed or with the mantra, that's one form. You can do guided meditations where you listen to videos or audio of someone directing you in a certain way with imagery or visualizations.
Or you can count breaths.
Yeah.
Like on the inhalation,
Yeah.
you go 1, 2, 3, pause. On the exhalation, 1, 2, 3. And when you you take a deep inhalation and you exhale, you're actually switching from the amygdala part of your brain,
Mm-hmm.
and you're switching over to your front cortex, your higher intelligence part of your brain. You're also enticing your parasympathetic part of your nervous system, which is your natural state of rest and digest. It is your birthright
Mm-hmm.
to feel in a state of inner peace.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tap into this inner peace at any time.
Mm-hmm.
Meditation can also be showing up in the kitchen if you like cooking.
Yeah.
If you like cooking and going from one ingredient to the next ingredient to the next ingredient, that's another meditation
Being
for me.
mindful.
Yeah, and just being mindful in the moment. Running, that's another means of meditation. Showing up in a yoga practice and a yin practice even, and just realizing where that emotion is in the body, and then breathing in it, and then releasing it through your exhalation, through your breath, right?
Yeah.
So there's different means of meditation. Anything that'll put you in the now. Go for a bike ride. It's not just sit in one spot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just like the one form of how many,
Yeah.
right? And I think too, like the more you do it, I'm sure you could talk a bit about how it's benefited you, but I think for myself it's been that having that more observant sort of approach to life, not as like responsive or reactive to things when emotions come up, and a bit more clarity and like focus or concentration. That's something, because that's what you're basically doing when you're focusing on the mantra, is like you're building your ability to concentrate, and then also helping, like you said, with stepping out of that amygdala fear-based mindset. You're going into relaxation.
We've been in that amygdala for so long,
Mhm.
right? We've been in that primal, that mammal, just in response all the time. And if you're trying to come into a new state, relaxing and not living in the amygdala all the time, well, that takes time. You know what I mean? If you're teaching a 7-year-old, it's going to be a little easier for a 7-year-old than maybe a 40-year-old, right? Because they've always been in reaction mode, right? And depending on the trauma and all that kind of stuff, so that's why one of those mantras, I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. Or I think that mantras also, like, you have to do some really digging, like self-reflection, like what limiting belief system, what is happening internally, and is it linked to post-traumatic stress, is it linked to trauma? And then you start having mantras daily in your meditation practice, your ritual, like I am loved, I am enough, whatever it may be. Right?
Building yourself up that way. Yeah.
Working on 21 days, and then your next month working on another 21 days. or 28 days of changing some sort of limiting belief
Mm-hmm.
system. You're going to change limiting belief system, or you should
Mm-hmm.
be changing limiting belief systems till the day you die.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's about like breaking
Part
down
of evolution.
those beliefs. I want to share too something because I use the Insight Timer or whatever. It's like an
Okay.
app.
Yeah.
And what happens is every day you do it, it like it counts down, like you did it this day, like this many consecutive days, this many
Nice.
consecutive days, right? And I remember when I first started, I was doing it like days, every day I'd make sure. And then it was like getting to this point where my ego was like, can't break that path, you can't break the consecutive like sessions you have, right? It's like if I didn't, I was getting like agitated, like, how dare you cut into my meditation time? Like I gotta get my day in. And then I just like, holy shit. Then it was like I became aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I'm like, this kind of just seems that's kind of like whatever you call it, spiritual bypassing or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's exactly the opposite of what you should be have when you're meditating. So I had to make sure it's like I had to have a day where I didn't do it, or at least I didn't use the app. Because I was like, no, you got to break it. Otherwise, you become attached to, like, and to me, that's a lot about what meditation's about. That's true.
There could be worse addictions. You're addicted to a meditation app like really Fola. There could be worse addictions. You know what I mean?
But it was more my ego of like, why do you need to have this like perfection of the days being day? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I've had this conversation with my one friend a bit because her and I had gone to the Vipassana meditation. And it was kind of about, because like when you go to that, then they basically tell you like they want you to be meditating like twice a day,
Mm-hmm.
like for like an hour each time,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like with that specific technique. And I was like, okay, like I mean, I don't think it's that hard, really. Like if you really, if that's your goal or that's what you're saying out to me. But then it kind of gets to a point where when you're doing it, and then when you don't do it or whatever, you get a lot of guilt and all these things. And I'm like, I feel like those are exactly the things that you're trying. Like they tell you don't become attached, but then you become attached to the thing that's supposed to help you with unattachment, and it's just like this weird mind fuck. Like honestly, in my opinion, but. It's like, it's like, yeah, I guess whatever works for each person, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, to some people, I might be going to India and like meditating all day and doing something, right? And like it might support them in whatever way. But yeah, it's each person, it's individual, right? But
it's a progress.
Yeah, there's something I think to be
said.
said
And a progress, like
about it.
Yeah, you have to be patient with yourself. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's something that. It's not, it's just something it's a gradual.
And there's so many different ways to meditate.
There is so many different ways to meditate. That's why you have to be patient with yourself and be kind with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And self-nurturing and self-reflect. And if an emotion comes up in your meditation, allow it to transcend through you. Allow it just to flow through you and observe and witness. But it takes time, and it definitely takes time. And start small. 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes. You don't need to be meditating necessarily for like an hour in the morning and an hour at night. That's intense, Although I have meditated for up to 45 minutes and I lose track of time.
Yeah.
And I'm so in my life force, my prana, my body, my vibration that I lose myself. But that's where I am in my practice because I've been practicing meditation for about 7 years now. So yeah.
Yeah, no, and it's funny how you say that. It's like what I would find happening is if I set a timer for however long I thought my practice should be, but then I stopped or like I continued past that time. It was as soon as I like continued past that time that some like shift in the awareness or that level of like consciousness would change, like where some like very different type of experience would happen, right? So I think there's something about to be said. I don't know, that's just my personal experience of like pushing past that, like, if it's 15 minutes, try to do 20 or whatever it could be, right? And then just kind of see what happens, right? Not that you're seeking out for that exactly, but you're just being open to it, right? And like the teacher of the Vipassana, Goenkaji, he'll always say, like, you're bound to be successful. You do have to work hard, though, right? And really, like, push for all the things that are happening. And I think I had a huge objection to, like, hard work when it comes, because you think meditation shouldn't be hard, right? But it's like that determination to be still,
But also
sit,
keep it simple.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. I think, don't think too much about it as well. If all of a sudden it's your first time meditating and you can't shut off the monkey mind, and you can't observe or be the witness of that emotion, and you resist that emotion, then you feel it go into your digestive system. You gotta be kind to yourself. You really
because
do.
I think that's also part of the experience, right?
Yeah.
And it's gonna constantly cycle through those like more positive ones and ones that we might not think are so positive, for sure.
But you will learn something from the not so positive ones.
Yeah.
The dark parts, and it could be just some sort of dark emotion that's coming through you in your means of meditation. Don't resist it. Just allow it to flow through you very organically. And that is easier said than done. It's going to take time and patience, and keep it simple. Just keep it simple. On every inhalation, maybe in, out, start with 2 minutes. And then, or mantras or whatever the case is. And that's Sheba.
She's getting excited.
Oh,
she was
Sheba.
Meditating herself.
She was meditating.
So let us know what you think about any of those suggestions. We'd love to hear if you have implemented your own meditation practice or not in your daily routine. How's that going? Maybe what's helped you in like making sure that you kind of make it a more consistent thing. Or if you absolutely hate meditation, because I know there are a lot of people that, think it's bad or whatever, like maybe changing the language around whatever that means to you, whether it's prayer or contemplation.
Or just being mindful.
Yeah, and just see how it starts to impact your life, right? Because there's a benefit to it, for sure.
It is. You got the most fascinating situation that I've heard recently is the CEO of Starbucks is offering all his staff in the States and Canada the Mind Up, not the Mind Up, what app? One of the meditation apps. He's offering a meditation app.
That's cool.
And
Howard Schultz, right? Is that
it's huge money. And for him to take a stand on mental health and say, I want to offer this X amount of sessions of psychology to my staff, and I want all my staff to start meditating, so here's the app, and here's the benefits. And you hear a lot of business owners like Google, bringing in meditation teachers to teach his staff how to meditate. And you got Anthony Robbins, that's been meditating for like 20-some, 30-some years, right?
Yeah, people who are
successful and can actually tap into their spiritual well-being and their intuitiveness and really feel comfortable with any sort of fears or anxieties and allow it to flow through you. And this is a process. I go through my own fears and my own anxieties and all that kind of stuff, and that's just part of life. And then I'll have a great day or a great week, and then the next week it's a little off, and I feel like I'm starting all over again in kindergarten, and that's fine too.
Yeah.
That's part of the process.
Yeah, I agree.
It's okay.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, so it's a brilliant era. Super excited. Let us know. Yeah. What kind of meditation, what you're interested in. Maybe Fola and I could do a guided meditation for you or something of the sort. And if you're using mantras or if you're reading some sort of like good book that maybe is your meditation and keeps you mindful, let us know that. What's your meditation? Is it running? Is it jogging? Is it cooking? Is it mountain climbing? There's so many different ways to be mindful and just be in the body. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, take care, everyone.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Bye, Fola.
Bye, Crystal.